What's up, everybody? Piscean here. Today, I wanted to bring you another installment of Not Stopping Until You Learn Astrology. So with peace and love, we're going to begin this video with the birth chart of a musician named Fifi Dobson. And if you don't know who Fifi Dobson is, I suggest you look her up, and you can find a few songs like Take Me Away or Bye Bye Boyfriend or Ghost. So she has a few different songs. But what I wanted to look over her chart for, and essentially the reason why I'm doing this, is because not only do I love astrology and dissecting natal charts and horoscopic charts, but Fifi Dobson was born literally 2 days, not even, yeah, like 2 days, a day, whatever. I was born February 26th, so technically 2 days after me, except she was born in 1985 and I was born in 2005. So whenever I see someone or an artist that has a birthday similar to mine, I'm just very intrigued by it. And that can come off as narcissistic maybe, but say what you will, it's my channel. So, we're going to talk about Fifi Dobson first, but it's not the only thing we're going to talk about in this video. But I did want to go over her natal chart with you guys. And I actually have a picture here. And you guys may be asking, how did you generate this image, Piscean? How did you get a planetary element distribution, like fucking graph chart, a model of water, fire, air, earth, the modalities, and then specifically dedicated to Fifi Dobson's chart, where it's 36% fire, 36% water, 9% earth, 18% air. We're going with the fact that Fifi has a Pisces sun, Mercury in Pisces, as well as Pisces, Eros, Hygiea, or just that they're an element of water signs, okay? How did I get this to work for me? Well, it's simple. I use an AI called DeepSeek. Yes, folks, DeepSeek. One of the best AIs, and I'm not scared to say it, better than ChatGPT, better than, and I'll be honest with you, in later videos you're going to see that I've worked with Grok AI, which is Elon Musk's AI. Am I a fan of Elon Musk? Absolutely not. Do I think that he is an evil motherfucker? I absolutely do, because he's up there with the rest of the lizards at the reptile party. Peter Thiel, fucking, of course, Donald Trump, JD Vance, all these other secret people in power. But I use DeepSeek, which is an AI that was founded in China, and it's very, very good. It's very detailed, it's very thorough, it's very just brilliant, in my opinion. It's a brilliant AI that knows how to do its job, and better than ChatGPT by a fucking long shot. Like, I've used ChatGPT, like, when I first heard about it, I downloaded it, I used it, and then I thought to myself, there has to be a better AI than this. There has to be. This shit is weak. Where is this fucking, the actual computer strength? It's over in China, not here in the United States. So, and that's why we're going to go to war with them eventually. But anyways, we're talking about Fifi Dobson, and we're talking about astrology, not politics in this video. Alright, so, now Fifi was born February 28th in 1985. And her place of birth is Scarborough, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Time of birth is, of course, unknown, as she is a celebrity. The chart is calculated for 12 p.m. local time. And this chart type we're going to do is, of course, natal. It's tropical, and Placidus, alright? So I thought this was really cool to just show you guys. I was able to generate this through DeepSeek. The image alone. And I didn't even know DeepSeek did image creation until literally just 2 days ago. And I've been using this app for quite a while. And it's really gotten better. So, let's look at this astrological profile here. The fire-water paradox. So before diving into the complex mechanics of Fifi Dobson's chart, a high-level snapshot reveals the source of her unique artistic identity. At her core, she's a Pisces sun, a deep, sensitive, and mystical soul. Yet she projects herself and processes emotions through the quick, intellectual, and dual-natured lens of a Gemini moon and Gemini ascendant. This creates a fascinating and powerful tension. The mystical dreamer communicates through the sharp-tongued journalist. This conflict between the ethereal Pisces and the cerebral Gemini is precisely what fuels her creative fire. It's the astrological signature of an artist who can write a punk thrash anthem and a vulnerable ballad with equal authenticity, which she does. She has both of these songs and more. You know, it's also really funny. She has a song titled If I Was a Boy, or If I Was a Guy, I think. Beyonce even has a song called If I Was a Boy. So women have always experienced this feeling of wanting to be men's, and we've made songs about it, we've expressed it, and men just get to act like transvestites for basically since the 80s, really. And mock us and treat us how they treat us and be just assholes and cruel most of the time because they think they're higher than thou because they have penises. Alright? The male ego is strong, and quite frankly it's getting worse in 2026. We see a lot of young men and even older men that are encouraging their behavior. Like right now, I'm live on an app, and I've been live. I do this in some videos where I go live. I live stream on an app called Meet Me, an app called Scout. And I get a bunch of fucking loser-ass guys from Loserville that just sit in my stream, jerking off, watching me. They're not talking, but they've joined my stream on purpose to not talk and just probably jerk off their small penises and think it's cool. But the reality is I'm going to block these individuals, and then they're not going to be able to do this again. And so that's the thing about men nowadays. And since human history, men have always been treating women as sex objects, as baby makers, and just a whole lot of nonsense, in my opinion. And the testosterone actually helped me see right through men's bullshit even more. So talk about hormone replacement therapy. So we're going to talk here about water. So she has, yes, Pisces Sun, Mercury, Eros, Hygiea, 36, and this is the planetary element distribution. Alright, so 36 for fire, Aries, Venus, we're assuming, Mars, Pallas, and Black Moon Lilith. 18 for air, as we're assuming Gemini Moon and Ascendant, possibly Air Chiron. And 9 for Earth, as we're assuming Taurus Ceres, and an Earth Rahu, or North Node. Okay? So, we have our chart data and key planetary placements now. So, excuse me. The planetary positions below are the foundation of our analysis, and the absence of a precise birth time means we can't analyze house placements without it, right? But the sign and aspect patterns are exceptionally clear. So we can go over those. As you can see on screen, we're going to go over the celestial body, being the planet, when we talk like that, alright? The zodiac sign, our degree key, and our theme, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Now I will just go back and use other colors because I'm a little bit of an idiot there and I just forgot to do that for you guys. Alright. So, we're going from Sun all the way to the part of Fortune, which I don't do a lot for, excuse me, I don't go all the way to the part of fortune for some celebrities. I mainly talk about their sun, moon, and rising. Maybe we'll get into some other things, some hypothetical placements, but I don't really dive into a full-fledged out natal chart reading most of the time for celebrities that I don't know in person, and I don't know their actual calculations for. So, we see sun is in Pisces, and we have it at 10 degrees, 352. And what are we talking about here? We are talking about the core identity, the ego, and the life purpose, as that is what the sun is. Right? And we continue on, moon, and we see, where is it? Gemini. Where is the degree key? Well, right here. 18 degrees. And we're talking about emotions, instincts, and the inner world. So when we're talking about the theme, we're talking about the theme of the celestial body, not necessarily the zodiacal sign involved. Alright? Just to get a feel for what are the planets we're talking about here. So, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Ascendant, Rising, Midheaven, MC, Black Moon, Lilith, North Node, also known as Rahu, and the part of fortune. So, now we can actually look at these more. So, Mercury in Pisces. I have this placement. It sucks, to be honest, because making friends is fucking hard and people are mean and life sucks. I mean, life is fun when you want it to be fun, but most of the time it's like you can't fucking have it your way. So, tough titty. Anyways, Mercury in Pisces, 18 degrees, 1452, and we're talking about communication and intellect. Mercury. So Venus in Aries, which is also a debilitated placement. I don't have that, actually. I have Venus in Pisces. Whoa. Do you guys ever feel like your throat and your vocal cords are going to shut and you're going to be, fucked from talking? Yeah, I love being a human being. I love it. So Venus in Aries, specifically, I gotta just stop and remember my color coding. Venus in Aries, 19 degrees, 916, and we're talking about love, aesthetics, and values. Alright, I'm just gonna do this. I wanted to go over all of it with you guys, but we're gonna take up too much time. You gotta go faster. There's always a way of doing it faster. Shout out to Elon Musk. No, I'm just joking because he said that. A lot of these people in power, or that want us to believe they're in power, are just smoking a lot of fucking crack, like Hunter Biden. But of course they're white people, so why would we talk about that? Black people are the ones that are crackheads, right? Yeah. That's how that works. Mars in Aries, 19 degrees, 2317. We're talking about action, drive, and aggression. Jupiter in Aquarius, 4 degrees, 5414. We're talking about expansion, luck, and philosophy. Saturn in Scorpio, 28 degrees, 513. We're talking about discipline, restriction, and karma. Uranus in Sagittarius, 17 degrees, 46.8. Rebellion, innovation, chaos. Neptune in Capricorn at 3 degrees, 16.29. Dreams, illusions, spirituality. Pluto in Scorpio, 4 degrees, 35.45. Transformation, power, and depth. Ascendant rising. It's Gemini, 28 degrees, 39.15. Mask, outward behavior. Midheaven MC, Pisces, 2 degrees, 3.45. Public image, career. Black Moon Lilith, Aries, 19 degrees, 40.13. Raw, repressed power. Rahu in Taurus, 22 degrees, 222. Life path and destiny, which would make the South Node Ketu in its opposite sign, which is Scorpio. Alright? And then part of fortune is Libra at 7 degrees, 2431. And we're talking about the point of material well-being. And our data source here is Astrology, if you want to check that out. So we're going to do an analysis of key placements, and this section explores the foundational elements of Fifi Dobson's chart. Of course, we're going to start with the Sun in Pisces and what that even means. Bear with me. All right. So what we're talking about here with the Sun in Pisces, the sensitive healer, well, Fifi Dobson's core identity is a Pisces, making her a sensitive and mystical healer. Pisces is a water sign. It's deeply intuitive, empathetic, and artistic. And this explains her profound connection to music as a form of emotional expression. Now, the shadow side of Pisces is a tendency toward escapism. Yes, that means addiction. Probably been to rehab before. I'm talking through my ass about myself here. Victimhood and a lack of clear boundaries. So Fifi's experience with her first record label, where she felt stereotyped and forced into an R&B pop mold, is a classic Pisces struggle against being dissolved by external forces. Her act of refusing that contract, a story detailed on her Wikipedia page, was the first major act of her life, and it wasn't a Pisces act, it was an Aries act, which brings us to the most powerful configuration in her chart. She has a Venus-Mars conjunction in Aries. The warrior of love, and most of her songs are like these love, rock, I want to say punk, alternative, emo, like ballads. I don't know how to really explain her music. She's done pop music as well. I'd say pop punk. Like, yeah, you gotta listen to herself. So this is the most dynamic signature in Fifi Dobson's chart. We're talking about Venus in Aries, which is how she loves and creates, and it's in a near exact conjunction with Mars in Aries. So both of these natal placements working together. And Mars is in Aries, we're talking about how she acts and asserts herself. So this essentially means her passions and her actions are fused. She doesn't think about love or art, she fights for it. This is the astrological fingerprint of her rock and roll spirit and her edgy black female outlier persona, as described on her official website. The conjunction of Venus and Mars, right? This is also famously present in the charts of Kanye West, Zendaya, and Vincent van Gogh. I've talked about Kanye West's chart on the channel before, briefly. We did not, and I've also talked about Vincent van Gogh on the channel, not Zendaya though. Highlighting a fierce, creative, and sometimes combative approach to artistic expression. When combined with her Black Moon Lilith in Aries, representing her raw, unapologetic power, this Aries stellium forms a powerful triad of independence, rebellion, and creative fury. Alrighty. So, what I actually do want to do, now that we spoke about Zendaya, we threw that out there, why don't we do a video on celebrity composite charts? And that just got me thinking. Celebrity composite charts of like divorces, big divorces, or forecasting divorces of famous people. We can do like J.D. Vance and his wife and see what's going on there. And we can even do like Zendaya and Tom Holland. These are just some options. So yeah, if you guys want to see that, I love how I like come up with videos, like video ideas during my fucking videos. And it's happened a lot because Mercury and Pisces over here, I have trouble remembering shit. Yes, I was addicted to Benadryl, but hey, my brain is still functioning, kinda. Yeah, just fried it a little bit. So, we're going to talk about Gemini Moon really quick. Hang on a second. also get hella distracted on my phone. I gotta learn how to like power my shit off. But I have so many things going on. Alright, let's talk about Gemini Moon and Ascendant, the duality of expression. So, Fifi processes her emotions and projects her personality through the sign of the twins. Her moon in Gemini indicates a mind that is quick, curious, and in constant need of stimulation. She is playful and uses her creativity to help inspire others. However, it can also indicate a tendency to intellectualize feelings rather than feel them directly. With her ascendant in Gemini, she naturally comes across as witty, communicative, and somewhat restless. Alright? So this aligns perfectly with her breakout single, Bye Bye Boyfriend, a song that is emotionally sharp, clever, and delivered with a punk rock, get lost attitude that is pure Gemini. Alright, let's talk about Jupiter in Aquarius, Saturn and Pluto in Scorpio, the generational anchor. Alright? So these outer planets form the background of her generation. We look at Jupiter in Aquarius, and that expands her sense of individuality and her commitment to social justice. Saturn and Pluto in Scorpio, well, Pluto is a modern ruler of Scorpio, and it gives her an incredible capacity for depth, resilience, and personal transformation. It suggests a life path that requires her to face intense power struggles and emerge reborn. Her career, marked by label conflicts and a canceled album, shows this Plutonic theme of destruction and reconstruction. Alright? Now we look at critical aspects. So aspects are the angles planets make to one another, right? Hopefully you know this already from my other videos, and they often reveal more than the placements themselves. So the grand fire trine, unleashing creative energy. The most powerful harmonious aspect in this chart is the grand trine in fire signs and what it's connecting. We talked about the Venus-Mars conjunction in Aries, Jupiter in Aquarius, which, while an air sign, rules fire sign Sagittarius and is in a supportive rulership with fire, and Uranus in Sagittarius. So a grand trine indicates a natural, effortless flow of energy between the involved planets. For Fifi, this means her core creative drives, Venus-Mars, are supported by her expansive, unique vision, Jupiter, and her talent for revolutionary, spontaneous innovation, Uranus. This is the engine of her genre-blending sound and her fearless artistic choices. Let's talk about that T-square to Saturn, the price of freedom. The most challenging configuration in the chart is a T-square, pointing directly at her Gemini ascendant, and the T-square is formed by Sun and Mercury in Pisces, opposite. Saturn and Scorpio, opposite, and both are squaring her ascendant in Gemini. Now this is a classic signature of someone who feels constantly pulled in different directions. The Pisces Sun wants to merge, flow, and escape. Saturn in Scorpio demands discipline, control, and facing dark truths. The Gemini ascendant wants to be seen as light, witty, and detached. The tension from this T-square creates a feeling of being perpetually at odds with oneself. It can manifest as internal criticism, struggles with authority, Saturn, and a profound sense of isolation. However, this very tension is what gives her music its raw, confessional edge. She's singing about the war inside. And a lot of people are in music. Shit, we all have struggles, and that's why I'm trying to help you guys understand why I make the videos that I'm making, is to help you understand astrology and who I am as an entity and an individual. We're almost at 800 videos. I've been doing this since last year, and I'm already almost to 1,000 videos. I'm fucking determined to make this work. No matter how much I screw up during the making of these videos, I try my best to get it out there and have it be palatable. So, yeah. Let's talk about our biographical timeline here and astrological correlation. So the following table correlates major career events with her transits, demonstrating the predictive power of her chart. We look at the year, and we're going to look at the event, and we're going to look at the astrological correlation. So from 1996, 2003, 2005, and 2010. Alright? In 1996, begins sending demos at age 11, so it's pretty early, and potent activation of her Gemini moon. In 2003, she releases a self-titled debut album, and she's experiencing her Jupiter return. Jupiter in Aquarius returns to its natal position, a classic period of expansion and opportunity. In 2005, Sunday Love album canceled. She leaves the label. Alright? And Saturn return begins from age 28 through 30. Saturn returns to its natal Scorpio position, forcing a restructuring of career and identity. In 2010, she releases the Joy album. Stuttering becomes a hit transit of Pluto over her natal Jupiter. I didn't know Jupiter is a stuttering planet. Could you tell that I have a lot of Pisces placements by the way that I just talk over myself and don't really make that much sense? Alright, I am an individual. Alright, so stuttering becomes a hit transit of Pluto over natal Jupiter. This combines transformation Pluto with expansion Jupiter, often leading to a career rebirth after a period of crises. And in 2019, she married her partner. Transiting Saturn was in Capricorn, forming a stabilizing trine to her Pisces sun and grounding her Gemini moon. Alright, we conclude here with the astrological blueprint of an iconoclast. Fifi Dobson's chart is a masterclass in creative contradiction. It is the blueprint of an iconoclast. The conflict between her sensitive Pisces soul and her sharp Gemini mind, combined with the raw, assertive power of her Aries stellium, doesn't create a peaceful person. It creates a warrior artist. Her career path, from being a teenage outlier in an otherwise male-dominated genre, to surviving a cancelled album and label disputes, to becoming a sought-after songwriter for the biggest pop stars, is not a smooth one. It is a Plutonic path of death and rebirth, a Saturnine road of discipline and heavy lessons, and a Uranian journey of shocking innovation. She is not an artist of comfort. She is an artist of fiction, and as her chart shows, that friction is the very source of her fire. Let's do this really quick. We're going to go over, an advanced astrology liturgy. Now, you might be a little confused on what that means, but have no fear. We are here to teach you. So, and I don't know if we're going to go over, let me see. We're going to do the liturgy, which is, let's see. I don't know if I wanted to do that, actually. I'm sorry, guys. I was going to go over the I Ching and the Tarot eventually. Maybe not in this video as well. This is my own chart that I was trying to figure out again. Alright. This is my Advanced Astrology Faculty Diary Logs, essentially an anthology, which I really am having fun doing, by the way, writing lore and, like, original astrology stories. And what that looks like is, you know, being fucking creative and having an idea and running with it and just saying, you know what, I don't care how weird it sounds, I want to do it. So that's how most movies get made anyways, like, and taxpayer dollars, but that's a whole different thing. So, Advanced Astrology Faculty Diary Logs, an anthology, and this is just volume 1, the formative decades from 1930 through 1989. Essentially, the following entries are reconstructed from the personal notebooks, letters, and faculty memoranda of practicing astrologers and esoteric researchers active between the 1930s and 1980s. These documents were preserved in the Archive of Celestial Arts, of course fictional, and are published here for the first time. They reveal the evolution of modern Western astrology, from its theosophical roots through the psychological turn and into the early computational era. And now when we say the 1930s through the 1980s, we're going to go even further. This is, like I said, this is just volume 1. I have other volumes in this and other installments that I will expand upon in probably another video, but we're going to talk about of course, from the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, all the way into the 80s, and then we'd get into volume 2, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I have like maybe 5 volumes so far, maybe 6, can't really recall, but I've been doing these, so, yeah, and we'll just show you here, we have, just make sure, like, we have about 34 entries because we actually go further in this installment, but we'll just show you like a sneak peek. So yeah, this is volume 2, which is the digital millennial era. We're going to talk about astrology from the 1990s to 2019. Alright, so that's what that is. But in this one, there's 18 entries. And we end all the way in October on the 31st in 1988. So, yeah, there's only 18 entries that I wanted to go over. At least in, just to see if we get a good feel. Which I'm pretty sure you guys are going to like this. So, the 1930s, the Theosophical Inheritance. First entry is by Dr. Evelyn Hartley Corbett from London, October 12th in 1932. Chair of Astrological Studies, Theosophical Society, London Lodge. And this is a memorandum to the faculty. It reads, the recent discovery of Pluto, 1930, has caused no small disturbance among our more traditional members. I've spent the past 2 years collecting charts of individuals born after 1910, and I am now convinced that Pluto is not merely a transpersonal generator, but a generational key to the collective unconscious. In the charts of those born 1910 through 1915, Pluto in Gemini appears to correlate with a predisposition toward twin obsessions, dual careers, double marriages, even literal twins appearing in the family line. I propose we adopt the following working interpretation for faculty use. Pluto in Cancer, 1913 through 1939, the wounded home generation. These individuals, now entering midlife, will transform domesticity itself. I foresee the nuclear family breaking apart and reforming in ways we cannot yet name. And what will be attached is 47 chart calculations hand-drawn. I beg someone to invent a faster method than logarithms. My eyes are failing. Entry 2 by Professor Alistair MacLeod, Edinburgh, March 3rd, 1935, and from his personal journal. Today I received a letter from a German astrologer, name of Reinhold Eberton. He writes of something called the cosmobiology, midpoints, planetary pictures, and a method of prediction using the 90 degrees dial. At first I dismissed it as Teutonic over-engineering, but I calculated a few of his sensitive points for the chart of the Prince of Wales. The Sun-Moon midpoint fell exactly opposite Uranus at his abdication. Coincidence? I am no longer certain. The Theosophical faculty refuses to engage with his work. They say it smacks of mechanical determinism, but I say, if astrology is a science, it must permit measurement. I will write to Eberton, let them call me a heretic. Alright, oops. Entry 3 is by Madame Serafina Velasquez, Mexico City, August 21st, 1938. Faculty Diary, Escuela de Astrología Hermética. Today we tested the primary directions of Placidus against the Regiomontana system, using the chart of a native who lost his leg in the Cristero War. The Regiomontanus directed ascendant to Mars was exact to the month. Placidus was off by 2 years. I've written a memorandum. For violent events, use Regiomontanus. For marriages and births, Placidus. The faculty votes tomorrow. I expect a schism. Also, a student brought in a chart using the sidereal zodiac, Fagan Bradley. I confess the fixed stars align better with the native's reported character, but to abandon the tropical frame feels like throwing out the cross with the Christ. I will keep both for now. We jump to the 1940s. War, exile in the Iranian school. Dr. Ernst von Kloss, Zurich, exiled from Berlin, April 9th, 1944. Confidential faculty memorandum, Iranian Astrology Working Group. The war has scattered our colleagues. White is dead. Saigon is missing. I've salvaged only fragments of the regal work, rulebook, the 12th harmonic, the planetary pictures, the trans-Neptunian planets, Cupido, Hades, Zeus, Kronos, Apollon, Admetus, Vulcanus, Poseidon. Many call them fictional. I call them mathematical necessities. Without Hades' 8th harmonic point, I cannot explain the concentration camp charts I have seen. The victims have Hades strongly angular. I propose a faculty exchange. 3 of our members will travel to London after the war to reconcile the Iranian system with the cosmobiology of Iberton. The future of advanced astrology depends on synthesis, not sectarianism. So entry 5 is by Eleanor Merriweather from Boston in November 11th, 1947. It's a personal log, the American Federation of Astrologers. We have finally admitted our first black member, a Miss Cora Johnson from Harlem. Her chart reading skills are extraordinary. She uses a hybrid of Vedic nakshatras and Western aspects that I've never seen. She calls it Astro Soul. She claims her grandmother was a conjurer woman. I sat in on a consultation. She told a client the exact date her missing son would return within 2 days. The son walked in on the 3rd day. The client wept. The faculty is divided. The Olgar said she is intuitive, not technical. I say she has recovered something we lost. I've asked her to teach a seminar on fixed star Purans. She agreed, provided we pay her the same as the white male faculty. We will. Entry 6 is Professor James S. Sterling, Berkeley, California, June 2nd, 1949. These are his research notes about transiting Pluto in Leo from 39 through 57. I've been following a cohort of children born 1940 through 1942, Pluto in early Leo, square their natal Uranus and Taurus. They are now 7 to 9 years old. Their play is qualitatively different, more aggressive, more hierarchical, more obsessed with kings and queens and battles. The teachers call them difficult. I call them the Leo-Pluto generation. When they come of age, 1960s, they will overthrow every authority. Mark my words. I have written a paper for the Journal of Astrological Research, Volume 3, Number 2, titled Pluto as Revolutionary, a Longitudinal Study. The editor asked me to soften the language. I refused. Right, the 1950s. The return of horary and the dawn of computers. So entry 7 is Margaret Hone, London, March 15th, 1952. It's a faculty diary, Faculty of Astrological Studies in London. I have spent the past year rereading William Lilly's Christian Astrology, 1647. The horary techniques he describes, the planetary hours, the lots, the anti-scion, are nearly lost. Our modern students want psychological profiling, not will I marry him, or is the treasure buried here? But I say, horary is the surgery of astrology. It cuts to the quick. Today I tested Lilly's method of translation of light on a Quirin's missing cat. The cat was found exactly where the chart indicated, 3 degrees into the 4th house from the 6th cusp. That is the basement of the neighbor's house, 3 doors down. 3 doors equals 3 degrees. The student who witnessed this has become a convert. I'm writing a new textbook, Horary Astrology for the Modern Practitioner. The faculty thinks it is a niche interest. I think it will outlive us all. All right. Entry 8 is by Dr. Reinhold Eberton, Ellen, West Germany, November 1st, 1956. Letter to faculty, translated from German. Dear colleagues, I finally obtained a Zusi Z22 computer, a primitive machine by today's standards, but it can calculate a full midpoint structure in 45 minutes compared to 8 hours by hand. I am attaching the first printout for the chart of Marilyn Monroe. Her sun-moon midpoint at 27 degrees Aquarius is exactly square her Uranus in Gemini. A signature of sudden fame and sudden shocking death. We shall see. I propose that our faculty establishes a computational astrology committee. The next decade will belong to those who can program. Sentimentality will not save us. Entry 9 is by Dr. Ziv Ben Shimon Halevi from Jerusalem, June 18th, 1959. This is a Kabbalistic astrology memorandum. The faculty of the Astrological Lodge of Israel has asked me to reconcile the Sephirotic tree with the 12 houses. After 3 years of meditation, I offer the following correspondence. Kether, crown, 10th house, not first. The crown is the public image, not the self. Chokmah, wisdom, 11th house, the collective inspiration. Bina, understanding, 12th house, the hidden structure. Chized, mercy, 9th house, expansion through travel. Gibura, severity, 6th house, discipline through service. Taifareth, beauty, 1st house, the conscious self. Nitzak, victory, 5th house, creative expression. Hod, splendor, 3rd house, communication. Yisod, foundation, 4th house, the unconscious base. Malkuth, kingdom, 7th house, the other is mirror. Alright. Now this reverses the Golden Dawn assignments. I expect controversy, but I've tested it on 100 charts, and the resonance is unmistakable. Going to the 60s now. The Psychological Turn in the Aquarian Age. Entry 10 is by Dane Rudar, New York, March 23rd, 1963. Faculty Lecture Notes, New York Astrological Society. Today I introduced the concept of transpersonal astrology. The students were resistant. They wanted to know, will I get the job? I told them, the job is not the point. The point is the evolution of consciousness through the crises. I've proposed a new technique. The heliocentric chart is the blueprint of the soul's intention, and the geocentric chart of the personality's negotiation with that intention. The faculty is divided. One member called it Neoplatonic mysticism dressed as science. I thanked him for the compliment. Entry 11. Isabel M. Hickey, Boston, October 31st, 1968. Personal log, astrology for the Aquarian Age. I have just returned from the first Astrology and Psychology conference in Iselin, California. The Human Potential Movement has discovered us. They want to use charts for Gestalt therapy, primal scream, even LSD sessions. One therapist asked me for a transit that induces ego death. I recommend Neptune square Mercury, then warned him that the client might never return. The faculty of the old school calls this dangerous dabbling. I call it the natural evolution of the art. We cannot remain in the 19th century. The Aquarian Age, if it ever truly arrives, demands that astrology serve the whole person, not just their pocketbook. Entry 12 is by Robert Hahn, Washington, D.C., February 2nd, 1969. Early research notes, age 27. I have written a program in Fortran that computes a natal chart in 6 seconds. The faculty at the U.S. Naval Observatory laughed at me, but I am sending copies to every astrological school I can find. The era of hand-drawn charts is ending. We must teach interpretation, not calculation. The computer will free us for the real work, meaning. Attached, printout for Richard Nixon's inaugural chart, Uranus at 0 degrees Libra, exactly square his sun in Capricorn. The man will be a revolutionary, but a conservative one. He will break the very things he seeks to preserve. 1970s, this is the fragmentation of schools. So entry 13 is Liz Green, London, May 9th, 1973. Alright, Faculty Diary, Center for Psychological Astrology. I've just completed my analysis of the chart of Virginia Woolf using the Jungian archetypes. The Sun in Aquarius conjunct Neptune, dissolution of boundaries, and square Saturn, severe self-criticism, the classic wounded artist pattern, but the faculty wants me to stop diagnosing and start predicting. I refuse. Astrology without psychology is mere fortune-telling, and fortune-telling is a parlor game. I am starting a new training program, the Mythic Zodiac. Each sign corresponds to a Greek god, not as a symbol, but as a living presence. The students will learn to invoke the god, not just describe the personality. The traditionalists are horrified. I am delighted. Entry 14 is by Noel Till, Minneapolis, August 15th, 1977. Professional memorandum, the synthesis of modern techniques. All right. After teaching 500 workshops, I have concluded that most astrologers suffer from technique clutter. They use transits, progressions, solar arcs, directions, returns, and harmonics all at once and end up saying nothing. All right? Absolutely nothing. My proposed solution is the Till method, reduced to 4 tools. 4. Natal chart, core identity. Solar arc directions, 1 degrees per year, simplest and most robust. Transits, only outer planets. Progress moon, 2.5 degrees per month, emotional timing. Throw away the rest. The faculty is skeptical. I've challenged them to a blind chart reading contest. We shall see who is more accurate. And entry 15 is Dr. Patrice Guinard, Paris, December 21st, 1979. Letter to the International Astrology Faculty. Unpublished. I write to announce my resignation from the Centre d'études astrologiques. The reason: the faculty has abandoned rigor. They accept astrological dictionaries that contradict each other. They teach aspects with 10 degrees orbs. They ignore the fundamental problem, the precession of the equinoxes. Until we decide whether we are tropical or sidereal, we are not a science. We are a religion. I will spend the next decade developing a critical astrology, one that admits its uncertainties and measures its predictions against null hypothesis. Goodbye. Alright, the 1980s. And this is the computer revolution and the return of the ancients. Entry 16 is by Neil F. Michelson, San Diego, June 6, 1982. Faculty announcement, the Matrix Software Company. I am pleased to announce the release of Astro Calculations, a subroutine library for the IBM PC. Any astrologer with $99 and a 64K machine can now compute all major house systems, 12, secondary progressions, solar and lunar returns, harmonic charts up to 360, and midpoint structures. The faculty is no longer required to teach trigonometry. We can now teach pattern recognition. This is a revolution. I will send a free copy to any school that requests it. Entry 17 is Bernadette Brady, Glastonbury, March 19, 1985. Research Journal on Fixed Stars and Purans. I have spent 5 years reconstructing the Purana Talanta of Tusser of Babylon, 1st century CE. Using a computer program I wrote in BASIC, I've tested 2,000 charts. The results are unequivocal. Purans are more predictive than ecliptic conjunctions. For example, the chart of John Lennon, murdered 1980. At his birth, the fixed star Algol was rising, Puran rising, with Mars in the 8th house. At the moment of death, transiting Algol was culminating with Pluto. The ecliptic conjunction showed nothing. I will present this to the Faculty of Astrological Studies in September. I expect resistance. The old guard has invested decades in the ecliptic model, but the stars do not lie. Alright, and our last entry for this volume is Dr. John Frowley from London, October 31st, 1988. Faculty Memorandum, The Restoration of Traditional Astrology. I have returned from a conference in Milan where I met the last surviving practitioners of medieval judicial astrology. They still use the Alcibiades house system, the triplicity rulers, and the lot of the unseen. Their predictions are eerily accurate. I propose that our faculty establish a traditional astrology working group to recover and translate Bonatti's Liber Astronomiae, 13th century, Lilly's Christian Astrology, 17th century, Morin's Astrologia Gallica, 17th century. Actually, we have one more and then it's volume 2, my bad. So the modern psychological school has thrown out the baby with the bathwater. We must retrieve the baby. Alright, entry 19, Eleanor Merriweather, now retired, Boston, December 12th, 1989. Final faculty diary entry, age 82. I have watched astrology transform from a secretive, almost shameful pursuit into a global industry. When I began in 1932, there were perhaps 200 serious astrologers in America. Now there are 20,000 and more. We have computers, journals, conferences, and finally a modicum of respect. But I worry. We have gained technique and lost wisdom. The young astrologers can calculate a midpoint in seconds, but they cannot sit with a grieving mother for 3 hours without reaching for an ephemeris. The chart is a map, not the territory. Never forget that. My last gift to the faculty, a handwritten copy of Al-Biruni's book of Instruction in the Elements of the Art of Astrology. 1029 CE. It is in Arabic. I've translated the sections on fixed stars. The faculty may do with it what they will. I'm going to tend my garden now. The stars will turn without me. Alright, and with peace and love, which you'll see from me in the next video, is probably going to go over volume 2 all the way until, let's see. Here's volume 3. Yeah, you guys are gonna see. Alright, well, with peace and love, Piscean out. I will see you in the next one, teaching you more for free.